Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Vrajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Vrajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Vrajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Vrajana Ranjana Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari. The sheets are passed out. Everything moves slow here, doesn't it? Slow as molasses in June. There. We'll try text 31. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yeah, you can keep that one, text 31. It's funny, I've been listening to, I have one of those boxes by Brihad Bhagavat Swami, and after Prabhupada reads those like this, he doesn't go into a long Prema Jwani. You notice that? He just goes straight to the class. It seems like that's better to the subject matter. Sometimes it does that, like it's written for the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, but generally he just goes right into the verse. Well, I mean, that's the way he does it. He could... Okay. So, we will be reading from the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 21, entitled Instructions by Maharaj Prithu, and we will be reading text number 31. Yat Pada Seva Buruchis Tapasvinam Asesha Janmopachitam Malam Diyaha Sadyaha Shinoti Avaham Edati Sati Yata Padangushta Vinihrishta Sarit Yat Pada Seva Birichusta Pashvinam Asesha Janmopa Chitamalam Diyaha Sadhyak Shinoti Avaham Edati Sati Yatapadangushta Vinirishta Sarit Yat pada seva biruchis tapashvinam asesha janmo pat jitam malam diyaha sadhya shinoti avaham edati sati yata padangushta vini krishta sarit yat pada seva biruchis tapashvinam asesha janmo pa jitam malam diyaha sadyakshinoti avaham edati sati yata padangushta vinirishta sarit yat pada seva biruchis tapashvinam asesha janmo parchitam balam diyaha sadyashinoti avaham edati sati yata padangushta vinirishta sarit ladies or lady? Okay. Yat pada. Whose lotus feet? Seva. Service. Abhiruchi. Inclination. Tapasvinam. Persons undergoing severe austerities. Asesha. Innumerable. Janma. Birth. Upachitam. Acquire. Malam. Dirtiness. Diya. Mind. Sajab. Immediately. Shinoti. Destroys. Avaham. Day after day. Edahati. Increasing. Sati. Being. Yata. As. Pada angushta. The toes of his lotus feet. Vinirishta. Emanating from. Sarit. Water. Translation. By inclination to serve the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, suffering humanity can immediately cleanse the dirt which has accumulated in their minds during innumerable births, like the Ganges water, which emanates from the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord. Such a process immediately cleanses the mind, and thus spiritual or Krishna consciousness gradually increases. Let's read that together. By the inclination to serve the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, suffering humanity can immediately cleanse the dirt which has accumulated in their minds during innumerable births. Period. Like the Ganges water, which emanates from the toes of the Supreme Lord. Such a process immediately cleanses the mind, and thus spiritual or Krishna consciousness gradually increases. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In India, one can actually see that a person who takes bath in the Ganges waters daily is almost free of all kinds of diseases. A very respectable Brahmin in Calcutta never took a doctor's medicine. Even though he sometimes felt sick, he would not accept medicine from the physician, but would simply drink Ganges water, and he was always cured within a very short time. The glories of Ganges water are known to Indians and to ourselves also. The river Ganges flows by Calcutta. Sometimes within the water there are many stools and other dirty things which are washed away from neighboring mills and factories. But still, thousands of men take baths in the Ganges water, and they are very healthy as well as spiritually inclined. That is the effect of the Ganges water. The Ganges is glorified because it emanates from the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord. Interesting, huh? Similarly, if one takes to the service of the lotus feet of the Lord, or takes to Krishna consciousness, he is immediately cleansed of the many dirty things which have accumulated in his innumerable births. We have seen that in spite of a very black record of their past lives, persons who take to Krishna consciousness become perfectly cleansed of all dirty things and make progress very swiftly. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj advises that without the benediction of the Supreme Lord, one cannot make advancement, either in so-called morality, economic development, or sense gratification. One should therefore take to the service of the Lord or Krishna consciousness, and thus very soon become a perfect man, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma svachachantim nigachati. Being a responsible king, Prithu Maharaj recommends that everyone take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be immediately purified. Lord Sri Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita that simply by surrendering unto him, one is immediately cleansed of all sinful reactions. As Krishna takes away all the sinful reactions of a person immediately upon his surrender unto him, similarly, the external manifestation of Krishna, the representative of Krishna, who acts as the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, takes all the resultant actions of sinful life of the disciple immediately after the disciple's initiation. Thus, if the disciple follows the principles instructed by the spiritual master, he remains purified and is not contaminated by the material infection. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore stated that the spiritual master who plays the part of Krishna's representative has to consume all the spiritual reactions of his disciple. Sometimes a spiritual master takes the risk of being overwhelmed by the sinful reactions of the disciples and undergoes a sort of tribulation due to their acceptance. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore advised that one not accept many disciples. Om Jnana Timaranya Sagana Gadasalakaya Chaksurinatanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. It says here that this dust can be cleansed like the Ganges water which emanates from the toes of the Lord. So, how does that emanate from the toes of the Lord? The Ganges water comes from the causal ocean. What happens is that Mahavishnu lies down on this causal ocean. And then when he lays down, universes come out in a seed-like form. And the scientists say, as far as religions, ours is closer because we have the idea of an expanding universe. It comes out and it expands. And then in each universe, Garbhodaksha Vishnu goes inside. And then Kshirodaksha Vishnu enters into the heart. So, once, with Bali Maharaj, he had it going on. He had taken over the heavenly planets. He'd taken over the whole solar system here. And he had just won the battle against the demigods. And Indra's brother, Vamanadeva, came and said, I would like some charity. He said, what do you want? Just 3 steps of land. It's funny, somebody made a song, Give Me 3 Steps, Mister. Some devotee point, I don't know the rest of the song or where it came out, but it's like, give me 3 steps. So, and he's just a dwarf, so what can he do with 3 steps? Just like Krishna's a baby, what can he do by kicking something but his potency is there. So, with the first step, he covered the material universe, and with the second step, he cracked the universe and let the Ganges water in. So it emanates from Vishnu's body, and Krishna's toe touched it. So it comes into the material world. And of course, this Ganges water is purifying. But why does it mention before that by the inclination to serve the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, suffering humanity can immediately cleanse the dirt which is accumulated in their minds during innumerable births? How many is innumerable births? Or is it too many to count? Is it? But if the Ganges water is purifying, and it comes from the toes of the Supreme Lord, why is it mentioned here with more importance? By inclination to serve the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, suffering humanity can immediately cleanse this dirt which is accumulated in their mind. Why is this given more importance? And why does this seem to be even more potent than the Ganges water? Can someone tell me? It's not a rhetorical question. Bhava Mangal, you have any idea? We'll have to see how many hints we have to give you. How many hints we have to give you. That better? So why is it better? So why is doing the devotion better? Yes, because you take some sort of action. The first one, you're going to the Ganges, and you're expecting the Ganges to do it for you. In the second case, it's just like Prabhupada says, bhakti means devotion, right? Is that what it means? Does it mean devotion? But just devotion? Devotional service. So say, I love you so much, but don't ever ask me for anything. Right? So it takes some sort of action. So we have some action things that we do. Prahlad Maharaj mentions it. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, and Atmani Vedanam. This is why we don't concentrate so much on the Shantarasa, because it's appreciation and meditation. And of course, in the beginning, like Prabhupada says about the book, if they just hold it and they appreciate it, then it has some sort of effect. But what really has effect is the things that take us to Atmani Vedanam, surrendering everything, doing some action on our own, not thinking, people say they want blessings, but you have to do something for them. It's funny because we never used to ask Prabhupada for things, but now some people treat their gurus like the fairy godmother. He's supposed to come and wave a wand and make their life better, make my children get into school, bring us money, bring me wives, bring me so many things like with a magic wand. But the guru is supposed to lead you to Krishna, not be your fairy godmother. You must have the children's tales about the fairy godmother, right? She waves the magic wand and makes everything all right. But we are supposed to take some sort of action ourselves. I remember the one devotee was saying, Prabhupada, you're the spiritual master of the universe, and you charter the boat of devotion back to the shore of Godhead. And Prabhupada says, do something practical. So Prabhupada was interested in what we could do. We see many times people come to a temple and they have a list of things they would like God to do, as if God is just waiting. George Carlin, the comedian, must have heard this from Prabhupada, because he says, what's the use of being God if you're confused about what to do? He says, imagine the shopkeeper is locking his shop, is leaving, and he prays, God, please make sure my shop is locked so that no thief gets inside. And the thief is praying, God, please make sure the shop is unlocked so I can go in and steal something. So God is confused about what he's supposed to do next. What is the use of being God if you don't know what to do until someone prays to you with instructions? Do you really think God needs the instructions? If he needs the instructions, we're all in trouble. Because if the people who are praying like this, if they're going to give God the instructions, it's like right now, Krishna has the planet. It's 150 billion kilometers away from the sun. Now, which would be bad? If it went to only 100 million kilometers, or if it went to 200. Right now it's 150 million, right? Which would be bad? If it went to only 100 million instead of 150, or instead of 150 to 200? Which of those is bad? No one knows? Which would be bad? It's what? You can't hear me? It's what? Closer? Okay, so which would be bad? If the Earth, instead of being 150 million kilometers from the sun, was only 100 million, or if it was 200 million. What? What's that? You can't hear it? Now you can hear it? Okay, so which would be bad? If the sun went from 150 million kilometers, the Earth 150 million kilometers from the sun to only 100, or if it went from 150 million kilometers to 200 million kilometers. Wouldn't they both be bad? One would be too hot and one would be too cold. I remember as a child watching a Twilight Zone about that the Earth kept getting closer to the sun, and it was getting very, very hot, and they weren't going to be able to deal with it, and they were afraid they would all die. And the girl woke up from a dream and said, oh, gosh, I'm so glad I had a dream that the Earth kept getting closer to the sun and it was getting too hot to live. And they said, no, that's not true at all. They said the Earth is going farther away from the sun and it's getting too cold and we'll die from the cold. And you saw like the thick snow outside. So while they were imagining one danger, there was another danger. So Krishna keeps it right in the exact place it's supposed to be. Because here, imagine how hot or cold it can get. And they say Durban people can tolerate any weather as long as it doesn't go below 20 or above 30. As long as it's in the 20s, it's okay. But anything below or above that, that's pretty hard to maintain it at that, isn't it? They really cried when it got to 40, didn't they? Who wants more 40-degree weather? You do? I like 33 and 35, but even I think 40 is hot. Is it? Yes? So, Krishna wants us to take the action. And it's amazing here, it says it can immediately cleanse the dirt. reminds us of what Lord Chaitanya says in the Shikshastakam. So if the dirt is not being accumulated, if the dirt can be cleansed, why are there so many people who still have the dirt in their mind? It's like saying, if it's raining outside, why is it that none of us are wet? Because we didn't go outside. So if these service to the Lord cleanses us, but we don't do it, then of course it won't have effect. It's the same way as if we haven't gone out in the rain, we don't get wet. So we have to perform this process of devotion. And we have to think, the good part is, as we become purified, even impurified thoughts enter our mind, and we feel like we're really dirty. Whereas a person who is really dirty, they think that way all the time, and they just think that's what's natural behavior. Whereas if a person is mostly thinking about Krishna and purified, as soon as some thoughts coming in of enjoying sense gratification separately, you immediately feel dirt has entered and we want to get rid of it quickly. So sometimes this makes us feel bad, but it's a good thing because it makes us want to rid ourselves of this condition quickly. It's just like if I'm putting a fire close to you and you feel the heat, you immediately get away. But if somehow your arm is insensitized and I'm putting fire there and you don't feel it, does that mean it's not a problem? It doesn't. It means that they're callous to this. The dirt is so thick they don't even notice that it's there. So when we feel at least the least bit of this contamination, we want to get rid of it. We're even more conscious to get rid of it than people who are wallowing in it, because they're wallowing in it so bad that they're covered by the ignorance. And what does ignorance mean? To ignore it. It's like the ostrich. He thinks danger's coming, so he sticks his head in the sand and danger's gone, right? Is it gone? Just like the people have some problem, they take intoxication, they don't feel the problem anymore, so it's gone? No, they put themselves in more danger. People usually get intoxicated at the times when they really need to be in the best mental state possible. When something is going wrong that they need to deal with, they decide they can't handle it and get intoxicated. Whereas we know that to handle things, we have to be in a clean and sober state of mind. Sober doesn't mean like, well, I was drunk last night, but I'm sober this morning. Prabhupada says particularly that we have two classes of men, Adiras and Adiras. It's funny, in the old box of lectures of Prabhupada, it was 861, but I can't find it in the one that Brihad Bhagavat gave. In that one, Prabhupada talks about how to become advanced. And he says that in the past ages there was different kinds of tapasya, but in this age, Lord Chaitanya is so kind, he's given us the chanting of the holy names. And then he talks about that tapasya means to restrict ourselves from sense gratification. He says, he says, man is attracted to woman, woman attracted to man. This is nothing surprising. It is only natural. He says, but we have to transcend this. He says, even if we have the desire, tapasya means that we don't act on it. We don't act on this desire. He said that's the difference between the dhira and the adhira. The dhira is someone who has a sober mind, meaning he understands what is good for him and what is not good for him, what is proper action and what is not proper action. And when temptation comes along, he is not swayed by it. But the adhira, the unsober person, as soon as there's temptation, he becomes a victim. And people enjoy being in this victim stage. Oh, yes, I'm a victim. Sense gratification has got me. This went wrong, that went wrong, and I'm a victim. But this means that we're not in a sober condition of mind, because we shouldn't make ourselves a victim. We have volunteered. They say that there aren't really any victims, there's volunteers, right? I became a victim of sense gratification and circumstances. Or did I volunteer to become entangled in it? Which is it? Volunteer or victim? What would you say, Raghunath Bhatta? You guys can't hear me, huh? Is when the person becomes entangled, is better now? In sense gratification, did they become a victim without any choice? Or did they volunteer to become entangled in this? They volunteered for it, right? They weren't forced into it, were they? Not forced. So we have to remember that Maya is very strong, and of course Krishna is stronger than Maya. But you know what else is also stronger than Maya? Choice. We have the choice whether to engage in Maya or to engage in Krishna's service. You can hear me now? I feel bad it's not coming through clearly. Maybe it's the fault of my brain. So we have to remember that, and these things show, it's kind of a corny saying, but it says, I reveal the way I feel by the things I say and do. By changing the things I say and do, I can change my feelings too. So we find that if Krishna is Govinda, the reservoir of pleasure, and we're interested in serving his lotus feet, we're interested in chanting before the deity, if instead of going to that seedy little bar up here by the rising sun at midnight, that we're sleeping so that we can wake up in the morning. And there's a proper thing to do it every time of day. At midnight, what is the best thing we can be doing? What? Sleeping. Best to be sleeping at midnight. And then at 4 o'clock, is that the best time to be sleeping? That's the best time to come down to the temple. And then at midnight, is that the time to be lively and awake? Janmashtami is. Say somebody goes to that bar. They were working from Friday morning at 6 in the morning, and they drive to that bar, and at 2 in the morning they try to drive home drunk. Is this a problem? It is for several reasons. One, they're intoxicated. 2, they've been awake since 6 in the morning. That's 20 hours, and now they're sleep deprived too. So what happens is the thieves come out to do a public service hijacking. They're thinking that if these people get in a car and drive, they're going to have an accident or get arrested. So what they do is, as a public service, they hijack the car from the person. That way they don't have an accident or go to jail. Is it a public service hijacking? Or do they just think these people are easy targets? But it's almost like when you're in that situation, in the mode of ignorance, nothing will work out good. You're so vulnerable for thieves to come and take your car, and if they don't take the car, you might get in an accident or get arrested. So in the mode of ignorance, whatever you do, it's the wrong thing. Krishna says that. In the mode of ignorance, they're always striving in the wrong direction. Which one is wrong? If they have an accident, if they get arrested, or they get hijacked, which one of those is bad? All of them. So whatever they do, they're striving in the wrong direction. In that mode of ignorance, there's no good outcome. There's only several bad outcomes. But we're doing devotional service. What if we're trying to distribute books and someone doesn't buy? Do we still get credit for the devotion? What if we come and sing in the temple, but we don't sing nicely, like I don't sing nicely? Then we still get credit? Or do we have to be like a famous opera person? Right? No, we get credit for just trying to do the service. And that's the important point here. Let's see what else is here. It is immediately cleansed. And we learn this through the spiritual master. You see that many people from India just get a hodgepodge idea about spiritual life. And then they say, well, we follow the Hindu religion. Where in the scriptures does the word Hindu come up? You know where the word Hindu came from? Do you know? Who made the word Hindu up? It was the Muslims. Because the Muslims called anybody who lived by Indus River, it was Sindhu River, but they couldn't say S, so they called it H. So they said anybody who lives the other side of the Sindhu River, saying Hindu, we call them Hindus. So the Sindhu River is in Pakistan now. So I guess that means a Hindu is someone who lives in Pakistan? So the term Hindu has nothing to do with the Vedic scriptures. The Vedic scriptures talk about Sanatana Dharma. They talk about practicing Krishna consciousness. But the word Hindu is never used. It's kind of funny because the Indians call themselves Hindus, even though they're not. And people in America call the natives there Indians, even though they're not. Why are they called Indians? Because Columbus thought he was in India, right? And that was like 1492, wasn't it? Was it 1492? Has that been a few years now? How many years has that been? No. 532, right? 533. But many of them call them, and they put it in there, they say native peoples. And they say, we're native peoples. We were never called ourselves Indians. But most people call them Indians, don't they? The same way that people call themselves Hindus, when it was a term made by someone else. So the Indians aren't Hindus, and the natives are not Indians, are they? They call them Indian tribes. But Indian tribes are more like Gujaratis, Marathis, Telangana, those kinds of people. So what we have to do is understand what the real process of devotion is. And we do the process of devotion. That's why Krishna says here that he says, if you surrender unto him, you're immediately relieved of all sinful reactions. And that's why Bhaktisiddhanta gives a lecture about Vedanta, its mortology and ontology. Who knows the difference between mortology and ontology? What is it? Form as compared to the content, the real thing. It's like some people practice so-called Hindu religion. They do rituals and they do things, but they're not even quite sure what the purpose is. They just do it for the form, doing the proper rituals. But Krishna is more interested in the content that we offer him. He says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakta prayachati. We do the things like the fire sacrifice when there's a wedding or when there's initiation, but we don't do it every day. Every day we chant the holy names and we offer food to Krishna. It can be simple. Patram pushpam phalam toyam means a leaf, a fruit, a flower, or water. We offer something simple. That doesn't mean if you're a billionaire that you should bring a leaf to Krishna and say, here Krishna, I bought you a leaf, you should be satisfied with this. If the man is a billionaire and he wants to impress a woman, does he give her a leaf? He gives one of those things that grow in South Africa, right? That grow in Kimberley. What grows in Kimberley? Diamonds. That's why women say that women are smarter than men. You know why? A man's best friend is a dog, and a woman's best friend is a diamond. So those are the things that grow there, the diamonds. So if we find that people in this material world, the one person, I think Eric Burton in The Animals saying, the best things in life are free. Those kind of things I don't need. Give me money, that's what I want. But Krishna is not saying give me money. He's saying a leaf, a fruit, a flower, water. So that means if we have money, we don't need to give it to him? No. We don't want to be like the story, the person, goddess Kali, he knew he was hurt, he was supposed to offer a goat. And he went before the goddess Kali and he said, my dear goddess Kali, you know, slaughtering a goat is so bloody and goats are hard to get. He says, how about if I give you a chicken? And goddess Kali says, all right. And he says, but you know, chickens are hard to catch, and once you cut their head off, they still run around without their head, and it's a mess, and it's so hard to catch them. He says, how about if I just offer you a fly? And Goddess Kali says, all right, offer a fly. He says, but Goddess Kali, flies are everywhere. Why don't you just get one yourself? So we shouldn't be thinking of how we should decrease our devotion and have Krishna do it himself. That's why people say, yes, I love God very much because every time I need something, I ask him for it. It's just like if I say, you're my best friend, because every time I need money, I call you. When I need a ride, I call you. When I need some help at my house, I call you. That makes me the best friend, right? They say a friend in need is a friend indeed. But is that impressive for God? We put God back on the shelf until we need something. And then we have a whole prayer that we offer. Give me this, give me that, give me the other. And this is not bhakti. We serve Krishna not expecting anything in return. This is why Bali Maharaj was told by his guru, Sukracharya, he's asking you 3 steps of land, but he's God, don't give it to him. And he said, but Sukracharya, you always told me surrender everything to Vishnu. So if Vishnu wants it, then we decide to keep it. Are we okay? Or is it better to give it to Krishna and let him take care of us? We shouldn't be thinking about what we can take from Krishna. We should be thinking about what we can give to Krishna. We should be thinking in the giving mood. Prabhupada says that we worship Krishna in the dative case. And the dative case means I offer service to you. I bring food to you. It's all about what you do for someone else, which is kind of hard because in English we don't use the dative case. I guess we're not used to giving things to others. We're used to just getting it for ourselves. But Prabhupada says we should serve Krishna in the dative case. It's amazing how Prabhupada has good command of the English language, and he talks about using the cases. Like quite often, we use the objective case instead of the nominative case. Meaning like if someone lights a cigarette, you say, I'm sorry, smoking is not allowed. That's the objective case. Nominative case, hey, you can't smoke here. It's directing it at you. Where it's not a personal issue. It's not that you can't do it, it's the smoking that's not allowed. And we have to remember what our mood should be. When are we addressing something objectively, like the process of devotional service? And when is it something that's being offered to Krishna and is personally given to Krishna? And when is it the nominative case? Like in a nominative case, I would say Raghunath Bhatta comes to the temple here. Raghunath Bhatta goes to Vrindavan. He also visits many people in the community. Whereas the objective case, I say, many people come to the Sri Sri Radha Radhanath temple, including Raghunath Bhatta and Bilva Mangal and Jai Sachinandan and other people. So you know, what is the point that we're accenting? But in devotional service, the point that we're accenting is Krishna. Krishna is the focus. It's not that we're the focus. Whereas when we're praying to God for things, we're the focus. God, give me this. God, give me that. God, give me that. Then what's the focus? Who's serving who? We're not serving God. We're asking God to serve us, without saying necessarily we'll do something in return. I have a whole list of items that I really want you to do for me, without offering something in return. So this is what devotional service is. We serve Krishna, and then Krishna purifies us. And sometimes he puts us in a dangerous position, like when the thieves had the gun at my head, and were arguing about whether to shoot me. I got 2 very good rounds done. So whatever happens in this world, we should use it as an impetus to remember Krishna. Any questions, comments? Any parts you didn't hear? Yes? That's Sachinandan. Microphone? Austerities.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe we need the old plug-in mics, right? So what about austerities?
Yeah. Sometimes people perform austerity. They go on hunger fast, or they, for some, they have their own agenda about going on just to make impression, or for some political cause. What is the benefit of that? Will they benefit from that in any way? Although
You go hungry.
sorry,
It's for a political objective. It's not for a spiritual purpose. Krishna's not the purpose of that. And generally, we do the service, there may be some austerity, but we don't start there. Like, is that how you ask people to come to the temple? Oh, you should come to our temple tomorrow morning. We'll be doing austerities. Would you like to come and join us in the austerities? What do they say? Oh, no, I don't think so. People, if you ask them that, will they want to come? Raghunath Bhatta, do you invite people to come do austerities? Sometimes just a joke to see if they're paying. Oh, would you like to come when we're doing austerities? Then you go, how about when we're just having a casual program? Just to see, which time would you rather come? Because you're offering them choices. Would you rather come when we're just doing a simple instructive program? Or would you rather come when we're doing severe austerities? People don't usually want to sign up for that. It's like the Thai Pusam, the thing where they put the pins in themselves and walk on coals. That's what they think you mean by austerities. But people actually volunteer for that, don't they? They walk on the hot coals and everything, don't they?
yeah,
And they don't get burned?
no,
How does that work?
there's some mystical about it.
Should we try it?
I didn't try.
You never tried it? I thought you tried the South Indian things. You don't walk on the hot...
I've seen people do it.
That's not the same. Do you chant Hare Krishna? No, but I've seen people do it.
No, I mean, we grew up in that tradition.
Yes. But you didn't want to try walking on the hot coals yourself?
Not,
You weren't interested in austerities? That's why we don't go for just austerities. We do have some austerities, but we don't start there. We start with the process of devotion. Any other questions or comments?
well, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, make him the beneficiary of the austerities, then
Yes.
Bhaktaram is the beneficiary of all our austerities, all our tapasya. Then we get credit for, we get
There'll be
Bless
more
you.
read about this tomorrow. No, verse 32, yeah, that'll be tomorrow. This even elaborates on it more, but I won't give it away now. Yes.
Talking about austerity, if you perform austerity that's not prescribed in the scriptures, then one becomes demonic because you're harming the elements of the body, according to Krishna.
Yeah, it mentions in Bhagavad Gita austerities
Yeah.
in the mode of ignorance.
So that's the mode of ignorance. But we also have, at one time we had devotees who were performing austerity, but they were fasting, just not prescribed in the scriptures, and it really affected them badly, quite badly. I remember going up there, it was in another province, and encouraging them to become more spiritual and to avoid that type of austerity.
Yeah, it's
So we
better
also
to do
know.
the main things. People don't like austerity. They call that the A word, austerity, right? Oh, you use the A word, austerity. So it's better we take to the process. Krishna says that in the 4th chapter, that some offer the fire, the different austerities, they offer the process of hearing in the fire of the controlled mind. So this is the best austerity. And Krishna says of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, japa, on beads. So if we want to do a sacrifice on austerity, the best thing to do is to chant Hare Krishna on beads and then do the austerity of hearing that and nothing else. Because the way the brain works is when you say, okay, I'm thinking this, that everything else goes on the back burner. But as soon as you think, oh, I wonder what's on the TV or on the internet, then the brain says, okay, chanting's not important, now this is. So we have to put that as the important thing, and then the brain concentrates on it. But if we tell it it's not important, then the brain allows you to wander somewhere else. So that's the best austerity to do. You have to pick the right one. It's like you say you want to work down at the ShopRite. And so you're out at the ShopRite feeding birds on the roof because it's an austerity to go on the roof and to feed the birds. But that isn't what the ShopRite is expecting. So same with Krishna. He's not expecting us just to do something because it's difficult. Like the French boy was opening and shutting the windows, letting the snow in when we had no heat. I said, what are you doing? He said, c'est une austerity. So we don't do that kind of austerity. If some austerity comes, we accept it, but we don't try to create difficult situations. We just try to tolerate them when they come. My father used to say is, I can resist anything but temptation, and I can tolerate anything but pain and suffering. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you.
Is it raining out there?